Hi friends, last week we talked about our animal research, and today we're going to delve in a little bit deeper. Delving in means that we're going in deeper. So, last week we talked about frogs, and what we wanted to know about frogs, and where frogs lived, their habitats, and where do they live, and why do they live there. Well, this week we're going to be switching it up a little bit. This week we're going to be talking about how a frog grows. We're also going to be remembering what we know about frogs. So I want us to start thinking, what do we know about frogs? I'm going to go back and look at my notes. Remember those notes, the list that I asked you to make for me? So let's see. We said that frogs are born from eggs. We also said that frogs breathe through gills and through their lungs. We also said that frogs use long, sticky tongues to catch their food. We also, the following week, we said frogs live where there is water and land. They live all over the world except Antarctica, and they live by ponds, rivers, trees, and leaves. So now, we're going to follow another question. Our focus today, what I want us to focus on, is how do frogs grow? Now, this is important because you can do this with any of the animals that you're researching. And you're going to be asking, how do they grow? What are they called like? Maybe a bear is called a cub. So I want you to think about that. And the word to watch is life cycle. What is a life cycle? This is really important. So you see how we're coming together with our ideas? So, what is a life cycle? Now, we've reviewed, but I need to create new space for what I'm doing. So I'm going to take these two here, and I'm going to put them over here. And here we go. All right, hold on. Sorry about this, guys. It's just a little bit of logistics. And here we go. So now that we've done our review, I want us to start thinking about the following. What is a life cycle? So we're going to be looking at the books. How a Frog Grows by Celia Benton. Can you see the book? So it's answering the question, how a frog grows. So I'm going to start reading it, but before I do, I just want to look at the pictures quickly. Get an idea. What is a frog? What is this going to tell us? Stop, think. Correct. I'm taking it that you're thinking that it's going to show us how a baby frog is born and how it gets to be a big frog. Am I correct about what you were thinking? I think I am. So we've got the table of contents. So now let's look. Parent letter. Mary had a little lamb. How a frog grows. That's the one I need. Let's see. This is for the parents, so I'm going to skip that. I'm not really interested in how Mary had a little lamb, but I am interested in a frog lays its eggs in water. A frog egg is small. It is as small as this dot. Can you see the dot? Now, can we stop and think for a second? Are all these dots the eggs? I see you thinking. I can see that you're giving me a thumbs up saying, yes, Miss Arias, those are eggs. Let's keep reading. A tadpole grows from an egg. A tadpole has a tail to swim with. It has gills to breathe in water, and it looks like a fish, not a frog. Do you see some connections with the previous book that we had read? They're born from eggs. They breathe through gills, and that's important. The tadpole begins to change. It grows back legs. It grows lungs. Do you see this? We're starting to connect information. Now it needs air to breathe. The tadpole grows and changes. Front legs grow. The tail shrinks. At last, the tadpole is a frog. Can you see that? I need you to stop and think for a second. We know that they started as eggs, but then what happened? Can you think about that? Can you tell me? I'm going to give you a second to think. Maybe you can share it with your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister or grandma or grandpa. So you said, this is what I'm thinking you said. They start as a egg. Then they become a tadpole and start getting legs. Did I get that? They got their back legs and then their front legs. Did I get it right? Is that what you were thinking? Give me a thumbs up. I like that. So, let's keep going. When it finally becomes a frog, right? The frog can go live on land now. It has lungs to breathe air. It can leap to get food. Croak comes from its throat. The frog grows and grows. The grown frog will lay eggs. What will grow from the eggs? Tadpoles. Oh, I have to stop and ask a question, an important question here. We talked about a life cycle. Can you start to think about what a cycle is? Turn around and tell your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your grandma or grandpa, whoever's at home. Or you can tell me, what is that life cycle? Good one. So what I think you said was that a life cycle is when we start with an egg, then we become a tadpole, right? That starts getting legs, back legs and front legs, and then it starts growing into an actual frog, right? That is going to go lay eggs, and it goes in a circle. Did I get that right? And here we have it. Can you see the life cycle? You have the eggs, you have the tadpole, it's growing legs, growing front legs, and then there's a toad or a frog. This is the frog, this is how a frog grows. Can you tell me all about it? You have done a great job sharing that information. Now, what I want you to do for me today is I want you to draw the life cycle. Now, if you are in kinder, first or second, I know that you are using some really important words here. So, you will use first, right? And I'm going to draw the egg. And I can label my egg, right? Then I'm going to put a little arrow here, and I'm going to create a tadpole. Something like this, maybe. I'll give it two little eyes. Kind of looks like a worm, but I know that you know Miss Ideas is doing her best. So I'm going to put tadpole, right? Then I am going to add, I forgot my transition word first, then next, and I'm going to put my next transition word right, next. Now, I am going to put in my tadpole, and I'm going to give it some back legs. Ooh, Miss Arias is not the greatest at this, and some front legs, right? But there's my transitioning word. Can you see it? First, then next. It's helping me know what comes next in the life cycle. Finally, can you tell me what comes at the end? You're right, it is a frog. So now remember, Miss Arias is doing her very best to draw a frog. And I am going to put it, and maybe I'll give it a sticky tongue. Remember that it had a sticky, now I'm not sure it looks that great. But anyway, we're doing our best, and that's okay. And here is my frog. Do you remember what that frog, let me label it. Do you remember what that frog is going to go do later on? It's going to go lay eggs. And here we have the life cycle using those transition words. So this is really important. If you're kindergarten, you can choose any animal that you want, first and second. You can choose any animal that you want and use these transition words to draw the life cycle of any animal. It can be an insect, it can be a frog, or whatever it is that you want. Third graders and fourth graders. I want you to take the same animal that you did last week, because we've been doing the same animal for 2 weeks now. I want you to take that animal, or 3 weeks. I want you to take this animal that you did. It can be a lion, it can be a whale, whatever it is. Can you go find out what its life cycle looks like? Can you go into our ebooks? Remember, you know how to find it. Go to the ebooks and find something on your animal. How does it grow? Why does it grow that way? Is it a cub? Can you please draw a picture of it if you can? Or you can also write a paragraph if you're in third grade and 2 paragraphs if you're in fourth grade. So with this, I'll leave you and we'll come back to our next project. Thank you so much. We'll come to our next project next week. Thank you.